Our first guest speaker today is a true example of resilience, perseverance, and diligence. He is the CEO of 2 leading companies in the energy and aviation fields in Jordan. He is leading some of the most prominent youth empowerment initiatives here in Jordan and works on many charity and philanthropy projects in Africa and in China, all at the young age of 22. It is a great pleasure to welcome on stage the man who proves that age is but a number, Mr. Abdallah Abusheikh.
اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank all of you for coming here today. It really warms my heart to see so many bright young men and women from all over coming together here today to learn more and to vocalize their opinions about the current political situation we live in now. But before I speak about my experience and the business world, I'd like to start by saying that today, in this very country, at this very point in history, we stand on the separating line and we stand on the barrier between peace and war, between civilization and destruction, between the darkness of chaos and the light of order. And being in this position puts before us and on our shoulders a hefty responsibility and a most demanding challenge that no other nation or generation has been tested with before. It puts before us the challenge and the responsibility of striking a perfect example to all the nations of the world and to all the generations of the world on how to emerge from conflict, on how to deal with peril, and on how to find peace in times of war, and how to leave a better legacy for generations to come. It is no secret to any of us that the youth in the world are not being given their rightful position in the decision-making process internationally. And I believe this is because we allowed it to be so. And we allowed it to be so by being passive, by being ignorant, and by being neutral about too many decisions that someone else had to come in, make those choices for us, decide for us, and shape our own reality. And allow me to go over some statistics here for you real quick. According to the United Nations, 53% of the world's population is under the age of 30, 90% of which live in underdeveloped and emerging economies, 75 million of which are unemployed. The women's participation rate is less than the men's at every country, and we are the poorest generation ever. Many of you might wonder why, but the answer to this could be manifested in one very simple experiment. In a survey of 1,000 people where they were asked about different political, economical, and social norms around the world, 40% of the people interviewed didn't have any idea about the problem. 30% had some sort of knowledge, but they claimed it as not their own and they had nothing to do with it. The other 30% sympathized, had the knowledge, but said that there's nothing they can do about it. And this, my friends, is the core and essence of the problem that we are facing with this generation. For the longest time, we have been deeming problems as not our own. We have been thinking, oh, there's nothing I can do about it as an individual, until we woke up to a system where we have governments that do not represent us, laws that do not suit our needs, and where we are being judged and managed by traditions that are outdated and do not suit us. And all of this is being forced upon us because at some point in each of our lives, we chose to be passive and we said, no, it's not my problem. I'm often asked about what are the barriers and what is stopping this generation from claiming its position where it belongs. And I'd like to quote Dawkins here. I'm not a really big fan of Dawkins, but Dawkins introduced the idea of memes. And memes are not Facebook things. You see, memes could be defined as intellectual viruses. Dawkins put the idea of intellectual viruses, and basically those intellectual viruses could be hidden reasons as to why a nation is not persevering. And for example, racism is a meme. Racism is an intellectual virus that people suffered with for the longest time. I believe the most devastating viruses haunting this generation are passiveness, ignorance, and hopelessness. And those are because if you look at it, we represent the majority of the people, yet we are the weakest link of the social structure. We do not decide wars, yet it's 95% of our young soldiers, men and women, that die on the battlefields. We do not choose economic policies, yet we represent 80% of the underpaid and 70% of the unemployed. And this shows that this generation is being neglected, it's not being given a threat, and it's being pushed aside by those who claim us immature, by those who claim us unworthy, and by those who claim us incapable of leading. Now, I've read a poem a while ago by a profound Arabic poet. I'm not sure I remember the name, but the poem basically speaks about how devastating patience and passiveness could be to one's dreams. And if you're very passive about your dream, it could just basically pass you by, and someone else is going to choose it for you. And the poem goes like this. Allow me to speak in Arabic for a bit. It says, مرارة الصبر التي هي مضرب الأمثال مرجعها إلى أن انتظار المرء يجعل عمره صوما فيطلب أن يعوضه الزمان بجنة عن صومه والدهر ليس جنائنيا لا ولا غرس النوى من علمه من كان ذا حلم وطال به المدى فليحمه وليحمي أيضا نفسه من حلمه فالحلم يكبر أشهرا في يومه ويزيد دين الدهر حتى يستحيل فإذا استحال ترى ابن آدم راضيا من كل شيء بالقليل لا تقبلوا بالقبح يا أهلي مكافأة على الصبر الجميل. And this is a very easy manifestation about how we remain so passive about an issue so close to our hearts, for example, and since we're talking United Nations here, like Palestine, we remain so silent and passive about that issue for the longest time that we ended up losing a land so holy and sacred to every one of us. My advice here today for all of you would be, it is about time we started choosing our mistakes, we started fighting our own battles, we stopped listening to those who deem this generation incapable, because we have proven, and we have youth that prove that we are capable of change, we are capable of making our own decisions, and we are capable of leading our own, because we represent modernization, we represent civility, and most of all, we represent the future. And as His Majesty King Abdallah II said, it is not only the right of the youth to lead, it is their duty to lead. So it is about time we assume this duty of ours. And to all of those who still doubt this generation, and who still doubt the young, and who still deem us unparalleled, I only have one message, and as I've always said, the youth are coming, and we are not coming to take part, we are coming to take over. Thank you all very much.